for me personally, just being able to see people succeed and play a part in that is very fulfilling. It's something I enjoy. It's something I really love and something I'm passionate about. I love seeing people succeed. Maybe it's because I wasn't supposed to. Maybe it took certain people to believe in me to be able to get me to where I want to go in my life. And for those people, I'm forever thankful. So to be able to pass that on when speaking to people or helping people or developing them, I think it's a characteristic that in the world nowadays it doesn't exist as much. We're in a world where it's about me. But I'll never be me. I'm very selfless. While I am a competitor and I want to succeed, at the end of the day, I'll take my level of success down a little bit if that means that 2 other people will succeed.
What's up, guys? I am excited with this latest expansion of Pursuit of Possibility. I'm starting to interview folks who are up to big things, and I'm calling it Inspiring Interviews. My first guest, it is a privilege to have James Carlson on. He is my bro, my good friend, and a mentor that started out working with me at Google. James, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting just to just see where you're at and see how you're growing and your commitment to pursuing your dreams and what's possible. I think seeing where you're at now and just looking at it, it's really amazing, and it's a proud moment for me.
James, that means the world to me, coming from my mentor. Thank you for always believing in me. I'm excited to interview you because I've seen your success in sales and business. I've seen your success with your podcast. I'm just excited to get you talking here and see what insights we stumble upon. I wanted to start out with your story and just talking a little bit about where you've come from and what you've been up to lately.
Okay. So my story, where do you want to start with my story?
Well, whatever you think serves you in the audience. Like you could go far back or you could go recent, like whatever moves you, whatever you feel compelled to share.
I've been in sales for 7 years. I started a podcast 4 years ago that, really took some time to perfect and get to where I want it to be. Now, we're the number 1 Texans podcast in the country. We're doing lots of different things now, continuing to grow the platform. We started our own YouTube channel about 4 weeks ago. And I think for me, really, like kind of my story is really just the dedication and determination to reach the levels that I have in my mind and where I want to go in life. And really not letting anything else hinder kind of where I want to go. It's easy for outside forces to impact where you want to go, but it's harder to be able to stop those things and be able to focus on where you're going. But at the end of the day, when you know where you're going and you're willing to take the steps to get there, that's how you're able to, make those things happen.
Absolutely. And I can tell you're the type of person that you have a vision, you have intentionality, and you have the work ethic. And that's a great 1-2 punch. I'm just wondering, like, where does that come from for you? Like, where does your drive come from? What is your why? Yeah,
my why. Really for me, it's just, I'm just not complacent. I've never been complacent in life. I want to continue to drive and build on whatever it is that I have and establish more. A lot of that comes from my childhood. A lot of it happens to come from, somebody we'll talk about today in Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely.
Just his approach to life and his determination and willingness to do whatever it takes to succeed. I think that's why sales works for me. I think that's why sales works for you, is because, you're going to need determination and the ability to press forward, no matter what the outcomes are of each individual day and task. And, so, a lot of it just comes from that. And I have a family, right? So I have 3 kids that look up to me and a wife that I need to support. And I'm never happy with where we're at. So, I want to continuously build on that and be able to give them something that I never had when I was a kid. And, that's what I'm working towards.
Well, I totally have seen in working with you and knowing you how important your family is to you. And it's been a privilege to meet your family I just really commend you for the stand you offer them and what's possible for their future and providing for them. And I can clearly see that that's an external motivation that drives you in combination with just internal desire, with grit and a desire to not be complacent. And, you mentioned Kobe Bryant, and I've been putting out videos this past month, and I have 2 more left that are honoring Kobe Bryant and his legacy. I know there's so much that we can learn from him. Can you talk about what Kobe Bryant has meant to you and your thoughts on his legacy and what we can learn from him?
Yeah. For me, Kobe Bryant, it's more than just basketball. He was able to do things that people never expected him to be able to accomplish, whether it be an Oscar, but also the little things that people tend to ignore in being a dad and being a husband. I think in that spotlight, it's very easy to negate those things and kind of not look at them in the manner that he did. But his willingness to dedicate what he's doing to them was really kind of where a lot of my motivation internally comes from. At the same time, a 17-year-old kid, youngest NBA player to ever enter the league, and come in and, his first year he had failures. I'll never forget the air balls that he shot in the playoffs against Utah. And, after that, he decided that after the series ended, he stayed after and shot 100 3-pointers because he never wanted to make that mistake again. And you saw that wasn't the case. He was able to work on his craft and be able to be the player that he wanted to be. And I think, there's a lot of talk now about the Mamba mentality, obviously with his passing, unfortunate, right? But we never have the opportunity to give the people that impacted our lives the flowers before they do leave. And now we're seeing the outpour and the love that Kobe Bryant had. And it's unfortunate that we're seeing it now at a later date than when we should have seen it earlier. But the Mamba mentality is really just about being able to persevere and outwork anybody in the room. And my whole life has been that way. I didn't go to college. I didn't, I was always put in situations where I'm either competing with people who went to Stanford or South Carolina or wherever it would be. But I always loved that aspect of what I did because I wasn't supposed to be able to compete with them. I wasn't supposed to be able to be successful as they are. I'm supposed to have a certain life that is down this path, but I don't like that path. And I'm going to make my own path. And I'm going to outwork everybody in the room. So they may be smarter. They may have a college degree, but I have experience and I have the willingness to be able to do what I want and the dedication to succeed. And that will never stop. That will be a forever thing, no matter what I'm doing in life. And to me, that's what Kobe Bryant really is. To me, Kobe Bryant is the guy that is able to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, because he is not going to accept nothing else.
Wow. I honestly got chills. Your relentlessness and your ability to succeed without following the unconventional path, that's inspiring to me. And I feel like that can inspire a lot of people out in the audience. Let me tell you this. We worked together at Google and he was a mentor for me in sales. And what I saw, and you probably saw too, is there were people at Google that hadn't completed high school or hadn't gone to college. And I just want people out there to know that don't limit yourself to what you think is possible based on what the world says you need to do to get somewhere. And I just wanted to ask you your advice that you would share with folks out there who haven't taken the conventional path.
Yeah. I think it's hard, right? And a lot of times, especially nowadays, people don't want to go the hard path. They want to go the easy path. Whatever that career would be for them, they would rather go the easy route because that's what they feel most comfortable with. But for people like you, I think like me as well, I'm more comfortable in an uncomfortable environment, an environment where I have to strive, I have to work, I have to dedicate myself to be successful. And I think people that, don't have the college degrees or don't have high school diplomas, you're told at the age of 13, 14, 15, that you basically can't be successful, right? Like there's a median of income that you're going to make, that if you want to go to college to triple your annual salary, you're going to have to go to college and do those things. But that's actually, that's not accurate. You can do whatever you want. And it's easy for people to say that, but you have to be willing to put in the work to get to where you want to be and be willing to outwork anybody that is around you. So like in sales, and I didn't see this at Google too much, the competitive aspect of sales is what drives me. I love to compete. I'm an athlete. I love sports. That's where it all went for me in sales. You want to compete. You want to be the best. You want your name at the top of the board, whether it's cold calls, opportunities, closed revenue, whatever it would be. Those are your goals. And for me, I will not accept being anywhere but the top. And if that's not the case, then I need to find another way for me to get there. And I think a lot of times when people are faced that challenge of I'm not there, they grow to be complacent and they grow to just say that that's going to be the case. When in all actuality, you determine the outcome of that. And you have to rise to the occasion to be able to step up and accomplish what you're set to accomplish.
Absolutely. And there's no question you are an incredible individual contributor. You're a high performer wherever you go. And yet what I saw at the same time is that you enabled the people around you. You were a leader. You elevated the performance of others. You went beyond yourself. It wasn't all about your success. Can you talk about what it takes and what it looks like to be a true leader?
So for me, I think there's different types of leaders. But for me, in a team environment, I'm only as strong as the team. And if I'm on a team, it's not about me being the strongest or me being the best, because at the end of the day, we share the same goal. So if I'm able to empower people around me to do better and dedicate time for them to be able to grow, and in the end, be able to accomplish the goal as a team, I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that. I also think that for me personally, just being able to see people succeed and play a part in that is very fulfilling. It's something I enjoy. It's something I really love and something I'm passionate about. I love seeing people succeed. Maybe it's because I wasn't supposed to. Maybe it took certain people to believe in me to be able to get me to where I want to go in my life. And for those people, I'm forever thankful. So to be able to pass that on when speaking to people or helping people or developing them, I think it's a characteristic that in the world nowadays is just, it doesn't exist as much. We're in a world where it's about me. But I'll never be me. I'm very selfless. While I am a competitor and I want to succeed, at the end of the day, I'll take my level of success down a little bit if that means that 2 other people will succeed. And to me, that is life. That's what we're here for. Whether it's kids, friends, coworkers, I enjoy seeing people succeed. And I don't want to thank you. I don't want to be known as your mentor. I just want to be able to look back on it and say, I had an impact. And that's all I look for. So I think a leader is somebody who leads by example. Instead of setting a expectation or criteria to meet, I think it's about showing how to meet those criteria and expectations and helping them get there, instead of saying, this is what you need to do, feel free to do it. I think a leader shows how to do it.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to lie, there's like 20 questions that popped into my mind based on what you just said. Okay. We could take this many routes. One route I want to take it is, how do you think Kobe Bryant led? What was his leadership style?
Yeah.
So let's take it there.
Yeah. Well, Kobe to the media is known as a terrible leader. He was known that way because and this is where it gets lost in translation, he had high expectations for everybody around him. Now, he had his own high expectations that he was trying to meet. So therefore, he felt that everybody on the floor had to have those same expectations and be able to put in the work to reach those. And so he got labeled as a bad teammate. In reality, the fact is that he was never willing to minimize his expectations due to the people around him. He wanted those people to reach those expectations because he pushed hard for them to do so. A prime example would be Shaq. They departed. He was shipped to Miami, and there was a lot of controversy between the two. Shaq was the most powerful center you'll ever see in your lifetime. He's like 7'2", 300 and something pounds. He could just out muscle everybody. but he never outworked everybody. And that's where him and Kobe clashed. Kobe was telling Shaq, put in the time in the off season, because Shaq would film movies, do music, and he wouldn't work out in the off season. And he would show up to camp and just get basketball ready within 6 weeks. He would let basketball get him in shape. Kobe's mindset was like, dude, you look like this. You're having this success already. Imagine what it would look like if you put in the work. He told him you could be the best basketball player to ever play the game.
Yeah.
But Shaq was not willing to do that. And so, Kobe got labeled as somebody who was a bad teammate, but really what he was trying to do was just help people reach the expectations and the potential that they had inside.
Ooh, I love that. And I actually was doing some research on Kobe, watching interviews, and I saw him in an interview say that he believed Shaq could have been the greatest of all time.
Correct.
If he had the same work ethic.
Correct.
And that was pretty crazy to see. And you know what you're making me think of? It's this idea of ruthless compassion. And that's what I think of when I think of Kobe. Like, you so ruthlessly are committed to other people's success and them getting more out of themselves than they even see for themselves, that it can almost come across as ruthless. Yet underneath it all, I believe that he had a commitment to elevate everyone around him. And speaking of ruthless compassion, you really demonstrated that towards me. And I can think of a few anecdotes or times when you did that. One, it was pretty funny. It was my first meeting in the Seattle market in person with the CEO and executive. I was nervous, and James came along with me to be my support system and kind of, my mentor, to catch me if I fell. And I remember I started out with the most awkward comment to the CEO, trying to force it to make a connection. He said he loved food, and it doesn't matter the details, but I made oh, you're a foodie. Does that mean you like food? I said something ridiculous. And
he brushed you off.
Yeah. And James read it, and he was my, he caught me, and he took over the conversation. And speaking of ruthless compassion, afterwards, he gave me feedback. Like, he didn't sugarcoat it, and he was ruthlessly committed to my success and giving me honest feedback so I could improve. And I was able to take that feedback and improve. And so I commend you for that. Like, you led me in many ways and elevated me in many ways. You affirmed me, and you were also ruthlessly compassionate.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate it. It's easy when you have somebody who's willing to learn, right? To be able to be that way. It's hard to be that way when somebody is shut down and isn't listening. But for you specifically, and who you are and who you were when we worked together, your willingness to learn and your willingness to get better was always what inspired me to continue to work with you and develop and push you a little bit harder. I also knew you could take it being direct. I didn't need to sugarcoat it. I knew that if I told it to you, you knew it was coming from a good place, and you didn't take it hard. You took it as a way for you to get better. And that's what you look for when you're having those type of conversations of being compassionate towards other people. You have to know your audience. You have to know how to deliver the message and how to let what you're saying sink into them for them to be better. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that you can't talk to John and Chris the same way that you talk to Mike and Lindsay, because Mike and Lindsay need a certain way of talking to. They are motivated in other ways. Well, these two, they want it just to be direct and straight. And with you, I knew I could do that, because at the end of the day, you knew where I was coming from was a good place. Yes. My goal was for you to be successful. And so for that to be the case, I needed to be able to get straight to the point so we could talk about it instead of going around.
One of my takeaways from what you're sharing is that a leader can really understand different personalities, what drives them, what they're about, and understand how to communicate effectively with different individuals. Talking with Lisa might be different than talking with Joe.
Yeah, I think with managing people in general, that tends to get lost a lot, is that you, as a good manager, adapts to the group that they're around.
Yeah.
And the way that you get the most out of your team is being able to adapt to those people. Some people want to be led with an iron fist, straight, direct. Here's what I need done, get it done. Some people want to be talked to and somewhat cuddled, and then, like the compliment sandwich, right? here's what you did really good. This is what you need to work on. This is
Yes.
what you did really good. People need that. And then there's people who, you need a combination of the two. There's going to be moments where they want it direct, but then, they're having a bad day, or it was a disappointing meeting, whatever it would be. And you have to come back to this. So I think as a leader, you just have to be able to adapt to the people of your team and how they want it directed towards them. And that's how you become a good leader, a good manager, a good person when it comes to communicating, is understanding that you can't be one way. And the leaders that fail are the ones that are only one way.
Absolutely. And, charting down a different path, I wanted to, share with you in the audience, like, this channel is committed to serving people who are taking moonshots in their life. They're big dreamers. They want to push themselves to become something greater than they knew themselves to be. They're chasing a legacy, right? You get the point. And Kobe Bryant's an example of someone who fulfilled on a big vision and created a legacy. And so I wanted to end with this question. Do you think it's more important to have the talent, the ability, the knowledge necessary to reach a big dream, or it's in fact more important to have an open-mindedness and a radical humility?
I think a balance of the two,
Yeah.
right? I think you have to have a balance of the two to be able to ultimately reach what you're aspiring to reach. I think it's a hard thing to have those balances, but I think for you to be successful, you're going to have to find a way to mesh those two worlds together to be able to reach the potential that you have set out and the expectations you have in life. I think that's where Kobe really, as a person and as an athlete, really strived to be, whether it's being able to go work out at 3 a.m. to ensure that he could take his kids to school every day, to taking a helicopter after practice to every school event. Those types of things, those are things that, he was able to bring those two together to do those things. And I think that's a great example of what we can do. In general, we complain about having to get up to go to the gym at 6. We complain about, having to cook dinner at night sometimes because we're tired or whatever it would be. But at the end of the day, when you look at what you're complaining about and what your challenges are, how minimal are they really? And I think taking the approach of being able to accomplish those said things that you want to accomplish, you have to minimize the level of impact that those challenges may have and how brief they are.
And you know what? I did think of a final point or two, because it's really valuable to have you here as the Kobe expert, honestly. One is, like, Kobe's an example of what it looks like to truly expand ourselves, like what is possible for a human being. And a quick story I shared in another video is that he would get up, like with Team USA for practice. He'd get up at 4:30 in the morning, run wind sprints for a few hours, and then get a physical or a workout in lifting weights. And then he'd hit 800 jump shots, and then he'd practice, right? And he's just a total example of, like, someone who expands themselves to, who are we to complain if he's doing that?
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you to tie that in on a positive note to the story of why he, flew in helicopters.
Yeah. So he missed, I believe it was Gianna's play after school, and because of LA traffic.
Yeah.
And so he decided that this wasn't going to work for him. So he decided to fly in helicopters, because what took an hour to get to places in a car. And we're talking about, 5 to 10 miles in LA, so you'll find out soon. LA traffic is not fun.
Moving to LA soon, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And so he decided that helicopter would be his best path to be able to still be a father and support his kids in what they want to do. At the same time, you're also supporting your wife, right? Because, as especially Vanessa, who, Kobe's wife, had to kind of take the responsibility of being the parent at all times, right? Because of his lifestyle and his choice of work and his career path. But his ability to also show the support for his kids while at the same time showing the support for his wife to be able to be there, be a father, be a husband. It's just an amazing thing when you think about the concept of why he was doing those types of things.
Absolutely. And to think that he expanded himself and, like, created the time to get up early to do what he needed to do and to be there on time for his family, like to have this huge life and legacy in the court, and also an incredible life with his family. And speaking of family, James, like, you're family to me.
Yep.
You are my brother. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And, it's crazy to think that you didn't just coach me up in sales. You're coaching me up right here, right now, because I'm going to be vulnerable, guys. Like, I'm just starting out with this type of thing. I'm learning. And you, with your podcast and what you've done, you're showing me what's possible. And just, I'm learning so much. I want to end with, where can folks find you in your podcast?
Yeah. So
how can they check you out?
My podcast is called Texans Unfiltered, a Houston football podcast. You can find us anywhere. If you just search Texans Unfiltered, it'll pop up. iTunes, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Play Store, Amazon, anywhere that you listen to your podcast, you can find it. We recently launched our website 3 weeks ago. You can go to texansunfiltered.com. Our podcasts are there. And yeah, we just started the YouTube, just search Texans Unfiltered and we're there.
That's what I'm talking about, my brother. Hey, bring it in.
Hey, let's talk about the yacht.
Dude,
that's how we should end.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, guys, between James and I, we talked about this vision of one day looking back on our lives on a yacht, just cheersing each other and just celebrating. And I look forward to that day, my brother.
That's still gonna happen.
And cheers to you guys and your futures. And guys, I want you to know one thing. I've got your back. I'm going to relate to you for what's possible. I'm going to come at you with positivity, with incredible guests like James every week. Subscribe, like, if you want to go on this journey with me. Let's grow together. I love you guys. Peace. Hey guys, thanks for coming on the journey. If you liked my content, if you liked the video, show some love and smash that subscribe. It's a small click for you that makes a big difference for me. And if you want to check out some more content and get some more doses of positivity, check out some of my other videos and tell me what you think in the comments. Love y'all. Peace.